Welcome back to the Why Not Me podcast. We're here today, and before we get started, let's pray. God, thank you so much for today, for this time, for this moment. I pray you use these words. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Today is a very special episode for me. I get to have someone that you all have heard about a ton. The Morgan Delgado, my wife, my better half, my motivator, and also so much more than that. She's an athlete, a competitor, a selfless and loving mother, empathizer, someone who, for how small she is, has a gigantic heart. She is a coach, a developer, and a young lady who has a reverence for the kingdom and for God. Morgan, how you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. I'm excited for you all to hear the story that Morgan shares and kind of her heart behind what she does and who she is. Before we get started, do you want to say anything to the gang?
Hey, glad to be here. This is definitely not my element, so this is Kevin's. So a little nervous, but I'm excited. I could talk to him forever, so here we are.
Cool. Well, hey, Morgan, who are you? How would you describe yourself?
Well, I am a follower of Christ, a mother, a wife, hopefully a good leader, an adventurer, a deep thinker. Yeah.
I attest to all those things. I think you are certainly a leader. I know you've led me many times. You are an adventurer. You're a deep thinker, a deep feeler. How could you, if you had to choose 4 words to describe yourself, what would they be? And you can't repeat words.
4. Positive, energetic, stoic, and thoughtful.
That's interesting. Tell me about the stoic and how does that show up?
Well, like I said, I'm a deep thinker, so I really try to think in all aspects, big picture, how is everything going to end? Not that I'm trying to predict the future, but just big picture thinking. And so I think I try to stay calm and collected through life. And that's where that stoic kind of comes in, because I can have big thoughts and big emotions, and I know that. So I think I try to control that by staying calm and level-headed.
That is so interesting. As your husband, ladies and gentlemen, we're married. In case you missed that, this is my wife. As your husband for 7 years, I have never once put that together. That your posture and your face of being stoic, that is your buffer to think and process. I am mind blown.
I mean, I disagree? I don't.
No, I completely agree. But it's like the light bulb moment,
Oh.
I don't think I've had this connection ever until now. And I just thought maybe I was doing something stupid and you were looking at me a certain way. But now that's like your built-in buffer for you to think and respond. I had never known that. Well, cool. Thanks for sharing.
Cool.
And you said you're positive, stoic,
energetic.
Those are all good words. Tell me, how does that, okay, first of all, what do you do professionally?
I'm the App State cheerleading coach.
So then how do those 4 words go into guiding how you coach?
Well, I'm in charge of 40 plus athletes and mascots, and we do a lot throughout the year. So being able to maintain energy and motivation and be positive, because what we do is not always easy, but also be stoic to be able to make decisions and thoughtful through every decision, and being able to move and adjust in real life. One of my mottos this past season was adjust and move forward. And we did that quite a bit throughout the season, and through positivity and keeping a level head and a positive mindset, like it helps lead, hopefully, the team along in a great direction.
Yeah, I'm going to call you out on that. You need to stop saying hopefully on this whole leading part because, I mean, you've been doing it for how long now?
12 years.
There's no hopefully about that. You're doing it, homegirl. Well, I think that's really cool. Thanks for sharing that. And, for those who don't know cheerleading, what do you mean by the coach for App State cheerleading? What does that entail?
Mm-hmm. Well, they're athletes. They work out in the weight room. We have practice 4 to 3 times a week during the year. And we're in Boone for a week once a month in the summer. But we do a lot of acrobats, a lot of throwing people in the air and catching them. We're crowd engaging, so we are the face of the university. We're in front of a lot of people for a lot of different events, for home football games, men's and women's basketball, volleyball, wrestling, really any other appearance that we get asked to be a part of. And we have our own competition also in January that we prepare for throughout the season. Do a lot.
That sounds pretty loaded. And you all make it look easy. Why is cheerleading special to you?
I was a cheerleader growing up. I did dance first, and then I moved over to cheer at the rec level whenever I was like maybe 6 or 7, maybe a little bit older. That was not intentional.
Sorry, I did 6, 7.
That was not intentional. And I also played lacrosse and did track and field, but cheer just like stayed with me, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the competitiveness of it and the athleticism it needed and was involved in it. Yeah, I liked performing. And I did UCA staff for a while, and that kind of grew my passion for coaching and being involved. And
what does that mean, UCA staff?
It's a company, a cheer company that goes and teaches camps for high school, middle, and college students or teams to prepare them for the season.
Cool.
And develop skills.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool, and I think it's to me it's always been interesting that you went from playing lacrosse to doing cheerleading. In my mind, those are like the two polar opposites of the spectrum.
I did cheer, and then I did lacrosse, and so it wasn't like mutually exclusive.
Even more interesting. Well, okay, how'd you get into coaching?
Well, my senior year of college, I was here at App State, and I had tore my labrum, and I was cheering football, but was gonna have surgery in the spring. And so my coach at the time was like, well, you can help the team out, help me out. I'll teach you some things on the coaching side while you recover from surgery. And I was like, okay, like I'll love to be involved. So sounds great. And so that was my plan. And then I just rehabbed my shoulder to the point where I didn't really need or want to have surgery. So then I went to my coach and I was like, hey, like I can cheer spring. I don't have to help you coach. I can just finish out my year. And she goes, no, I still want you to help me coach. And I was like, all right, sounds good. So I did that. And like later in the later part of that spring semester, she was like, actually, I'm moving to Australia and I want you to take over the program. And I was like, uh, what? You want me to do what?
How old were you then?
I mean, I was a senior in college, so I was like 21, 22. I think I was 22 at the time.
That's a pretty bizarre ask. So you had your mindset that you were to come back and cheer spring. When your coach told you, no, you're actually going to coach, how'd that feel for you?
Oh, I was honored. I was honored. I had conflicting feelings though, because I was like, I didn't think I was prepared for that or ready or, maybe I wanted to be in the uniform again. But I ended up being totally fine with it.
I think it worked out, but still, I'm thinking like as an athlete, you're like, oh, well, great. Well, now I get to come back and finish up my senior year. Hey, let's go do this. I'm strong enough to do it. Let's go have fun. And your coach is like, nope, please, coach.
Yeah. It was an interesting thing to navigate, but I was very honored.
Yeah, that is quite the honor that you put, that gets put in your hand. And I could only imagine that decision to have you be the coach came with a lot of interesting decisions you had to make as a first year coach and a young one at that.
Yeah. Yeah, that first year was tough. Not gonna lie.
What was the hardest part about it?
Well, I knew I wanted to make changes, and I knew if I was going to be coaching that I was going to be the coach. And having coached my friends that I was just on the team with the year previous was interesting to get them to think as big as I was thinking.
Yeah, I can see it being challenging because you basically took the big cruise ship and whipped a U-turn and said we're going in this direction, actually, and you had seniors, juniors, other people that were ready to go in the other direction. Huh? Yeah, I bet that was very challenging. And then you add the layer of like complexity where you were just their peer, and now you're their coach. How was that?
Yeah, it wasn't fun. For them. I mean, for me too, but it was just, they wanted to push the bounds of that friendship. And yeah, it was a lot of lessons on all fronts, myself included, because I was 23, 22. I just graduated college. I was still in the town that I went to college in. Yeah.
That probably took a whole lot of grit and determination.
Yeah, I probably should have used determination as one of my 4 words.
So I was just thinking, I'm like, you have beautiful words, but maybe we should throw a 5th word in there and call it determined.
Yeah,
it's like I'm just thinking the average person probably wouldn't do that or persevere through that. What got you through that season?
Honestly, in a positive and negative way, probably pride.
Tell me more. Do tell.
I think in a positive and negative way, I like being challenged. And if someone tells me that I can't do something, like I'm going to prove to you that I can. And yeah, at the time I was young. I was coaching a college team for the first time, which wasn't in my path of what I expected to do in the first place. And if I'm going to commit to something, I'm going to commit to something 100%. And so I did that. And I made changes, and I had a direction that I wanted to take the program in, or I would like to see the program in eventually. because at the time that first year, I didn't know if I was going to stay for long term, but I knew that I was at least going to do a year or two at the time. And yeah, pride. Like I was going to figure it out.
Yeah, and that checks out. 7 years of marriage and 12 years of coaching. I want to honor that pride, and I think I want to reframe it a little bit. Because what I heard you say was that, first of all, you didn't know you were going to be a coach until you got there, and then you got to this point where you got the opportunity, and you're like, I'm going to commit to it, and here is the direction I feel like I'm being called to push this team to. So I would argue that you're like, yeah, it was sure pride, a sense of pride, but really it was a commitment to that calling.
Yeah, I got into coaching and it wasn't what I had saw myself doing as a career at first. And then as I got in after the first year and I found some joy in it and some feeling of like accomplishment that like, man, I made changes that were good and I have goals and I'm going to see that through. And then the next year came and then I started seeing like my first team's freshman group. They're still a special group. But they helped solidify the understanding of the biggest picture with coaching and how I felt like I was called into it. And really the biggest reason why I do it still now is not for cheerleading, but it's to hopefully
You need to stop with that hopefully stuff.
hopefully be a small part in someone's journey and to be able to make an impact in their lives and set them up for success after they graduate college.
Yeah. All the while achieving great things in college. That's really cool. And I just think it's admirable. Yeah. That what you've done, I don't know that I have I'll say determination, not pride, the determination to persevere through that and to accept that challenge. It's hard to take a dream and a vision that's in your head that has not been done in your environment before and say, why not me? Like that's a hard thing to do. So I think it's totally fitting that you're right here sharing your why not me journey. And it's an honor. For me, it's a personal honor to hear this. I'm learning more about you. That's really cool. Like you're connecting stuff for me that I haven't had the thought to connect it before. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's really cool. You didn't see yourself doing coaching. What was your plan?
So I graduated with a degree in nutrition and dietetics, and I wanted to become a registered dietitian. My plan was to work in the medical field for a little bit, and then I wanted to open up my own fitness and wellness center for really anyone but women. I wanted to combat body dysmorphia and eating disorders, and make people empowered to feel their best selves while using nutrition. So, yeah.
Is that still in your heart somewhere?
I mean, I think little bits, yeah. I love food.
I'm a foodie, but I don't love food the way that you do. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty drastic change. You're planning to be a registered dietitian and you're still in the fitness world, and I guess you still are like nutrition adjacent because you're coaching high level athletes. It's not like you're, it's just average people. It's pretty elite.
Yeah, and I got to use my degree a little bit. I helped actually start the nutrition station for athletes at App, so the App Fuel Station, which is really cool to be able to put a little fingerprint in that. But I mean, thankfully we have other resources to where I don't have to be the sole voice of nutrition on my team, but I also am open to have conversations with people if they want to ask me.
Yeah, I think that's one of your superpowers that I'm thankful for as a husband, and as you being the mother to my kids, you take care of make sure that we're eating clean and uh, good ingredients, good food. So thanks for that. I have a question. So you mentioned this earlier that there is a big picture for your coaching, and you want to be a small part of their journey. But you said you didn't want to be a coach initially. So why coaching now? And what is that big picture?
Yeah, the big picture is loving people the way we're called to, and hopefully furthering God's kingdom.
You're gonna stop with that, hopefully.
I'm going to continue to say it. But no, furthering God's kingdom. I mean, I feel like where I'm at right now is for a very specific reason. And I see that played out year after year. And I feel like God is using me. And I'm just here to not mess it up. Hopefully.
You're trying very hard to not get fired. That's it. Yeah. So then why is that why you coach as well? You think it's just basically to point people to the kingdom?
Yeah, to love people and show people things that they probably didn't even know that they could accomplish yet. I talk a lot about versatility with the team. And in a way, it is for skill development and for them to grow as athletes, to understand like different pieces of what we do within our program. But it's also to show them things that they didn't know that they could do.
I think it's cool that you're looking to basically pull something out of people that they didn't see themselves. And I mean, you're doing it at a high level, and I think you have people who are doing things at a high level as well from being exposed to it. Well, who are you as an athlete?
I don't know. I was a leader. I wanted other people's success. I was a competitor. Yeah.
Do you see those things guiding the way you coach? Still?
Yeah, for sure.
And how do you like develop that in people? So like, if I don't see it in myself, what are you looking for when you recruit somebody to be on your team, and how do you pull that out of them?
We talk about team culture and leadership a lot, especially like for people incoming, because it is a big part of our team and our culture, especially here in Boone. Like, it's a small, tight-knit community. And I want to have a team that is a family and can rely on their teammates for whatever life throws at them. I talk through that a lot, I feel like, to recruits and the team, of just like expectations, how they should hold themselves in and outside of practice, what the importance is of the bigger picture. It's not just about you, it's about the team, about the university. And yeah, I think just like putting a voice to all of those things and pushing people to understand a bigger picture and then want to be better themselves.
Yeah, I think it's really important, because what you're doing, you're basically taking the athlete you were, and you're living through the hardships you lived through, and the transitions of going from an athlete to a coach, and all those difficulties and lessons you've learned, and you're applying it to these people. You're basically teaching them, these are the lessons I learned. Learn them now without the pain and without the burn. And I think that's really cool. And I think the other part that's pretty exceptional is that you focus a lot about this thing of how they see themselves. You're calling out like, this is who you are. And I think that's pretty special. I think it's special when you could be someone who's an influencer, and you're telling someone what you see in them that they might not be prepared to confidently say, I am this. And I think that's important in anything you do, in your Why Not Me journey. Yours is coaching championship level, incredible people, and pulling out that, hey, there's a champion in there, and here's how you do it. think it's really cool. And I think what's even cooler is that you model that so well. You call it pride. I call it determination and grit. I think what you're saying is, hey, I modeled it and I've done it. And here we go. Let's do it this way. Another thing that I want to really underscore is your perspective on leadership. I thought that was pretty refreshing. You breezed by it. You're like, yeah, I'm a leader. And you mentioned that you've always cared about making others be better. And I think that's a very important approach to be a leader that way. Tell me more about your leadership approach.
Well, you lead by example and you lead from your heart too. I think in order to lead people, you have to allow them to understand that you love and trust them so that in turn they will trust you. And yeah.
Gosh, that can get difficult. How many athletes do you have? 40.
Well, 43.
Okay, 40 to 50
40 to
range. That's a healthy range.
Yeah.
I can imagine it's pretty difficult to have a genuine, to be able to pour out that way. So I admire that about you, that you genuinely lead from a place of like, I'm here to love you first.
That's a hope, right? It's important to show people also that everyone, no matter their year on the team or seniority or experience, like it does matter and it does hold weight, but that doesn't solidify someone being a leader. Leadership is so much more than who's the loudest person or the most senior person. It's who's doing the right things when no one is watching. And who's picking up trash when no one else is asking them to, and making sure that their teammates know exactly what's going on, where to be, what to wear, all of the small little details. Like that's what encompasses leadership to me. It's not just the most skilled person. It's who's going to help make each person and the team better people.
You need to write a book about that. That's really deep. That's really cool. And I just love where your heart is at with leadership. I think it's important. I think we think about leadership way too much from the standpoint of the individual who's standing at the very top of the building and they're looking down from the balcony and yelling at people to say, do this, do that, I deserve this. And I think you've painted a really beautiful picture of the true nature of, well, I'll say true nature of meaningful leadership. Mm-hmm. It's this idea of the leaders there in this place where they're charged with serving more than they are receiving more.
There's this image that I saw a long time ago that has stuck with me, and it's like they're in a chariot. And there's one image where there's a guy sitting on top of the chariot, and he's like telling people where to go, and the people in front that are pulling the chariot are like sweating and like down and like look like they're having a hard time. And then there's another image, it's reversed, and it's like one person in front of the chariot pulling everyone behind them along. And it's like that's the type of leadership that I want to model, like not just like showing or telling people what to do, but like showing people and like pushing people along.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's powerful. It's because you're, in a sense, you're still leading. You're still doing the same thing that person was doing, but you're modeling not just what to do, but how to do it. That's really dope. You rock, dude.
So do you.
I like you. Hey, so, okay, within coaching, what is the dream?
Well, it's legacy, first of all, not just for me, but for our program and our team and everyone that has came through it and is going to come through it. I want to win championships. But I want to also build champion people in their lives, and so that they can go on and win their every day with a positive mindset.
Okay, now put that on the back of a shirt, girl. I think that's really cool. And that's powerful. You're building the daily champion. And I think so much in your world of work and helping people navigate like the challenges of high level athletics is translatable to the real world. If you think about like, what you're going to deal with in a marketplace, what you're going to deal with in a family, what you're going to deal with as a CEO, it's going to be sacrifice, long days, short nights, difficult situations, adversity. Um, and I think what I'm hearing you say is people have to be ready to match that with determination and grit and excellence,
Mm-hmm.
togetherness. And I think the biggest thing I'm hearing you say is a belonging to a calling or a good that's greater than them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I talk throughout the season of different things, and I relate it obviously to cheerleading, but then I follow it up with this is more than just cheerleading. Like, this is for your lives. And my hope is that they do take the small little lessons that I teach them about the hard parts of what we go through in a practice or in a season, and they utilize it for their lives, because life is not easy. It's tough and it comes with challenges, and it's not okay for you to just succumb to the hardships in life. You have to be able to like stand up firm in who you are and what you believe in and go through it.
We talk a lot about, with regards to the why not me, when you're in life, you're going to be faced with obstacles that may seem or look bigger than they actually are. And I think that's really important, the work you're doing. I think I believe from my perspective, where I see you do your work and I'm involved with your team, that you are making a difference in, I'm going to say, hundreds of lives. And you're developing leaders that are selfless and ready to get their hands dirty and do the work and be impactful in their environments after the fact. I think that's the most beautiful part about seeing you do what you do. You really pour into people this, you instill people with this desire to belong to something bigger than themselves and to unite people around that thing and get them to move mountains. And I think that's really cool what you do. For those who don't know, just this past year, Coach Morgan had a wonderful year, and their team saw a lot of success, almost historical success. And seeing that moment come to fruition for you and your team, where they saw themselves as a champion, and I earned that spot, and also seeing like all the work that goes in behind the scenes, that's such a beautiful thing, and it's a testament to the process you're painting out. Yeah. So, gang, don't quit. One step at a time. Keep it going. All right. So, what is your dream outside of coaching?
Oh, to have a beautiful family that is confident and assured in themselves. We have 3 boys, in case you didn't know. And I pray for them every day to be confident and assured in themselves and to be able to lead their lives how they're called.
Yeah. Okay. You as a leader of people, and I'm thinking, there's been many times where you've led me. You lead your athletes. You lead our kids. What is some advice you have to somebody who wants to be that kind of an impact player? How do we become leaders in our own right?
Know your heart, first of all, and your why. What do you want to accomplish and why? Making big decisions as a leader can be hard, but knowing why you're making certain decisions and leading through life is ultimately your beacon, your driving factor of knowing what you're doing and the paths that you're creating as a leader is important, and as long as you're rooted in your why and you know your heart is in a good place, the outcome will be as it should.
That was very inspiring. You painted this picture of a leader being a trailblazer. And I kind of heard you talking about the leader being this person, and in this case, you, the leader being this person that has a very clear direction they've been laid on their heart. And you are committed to making the path easy for those who are coming behind you. So you're going to do all the heavy lifting, all the hard work, all the clearing. If we're in the woods, you're chopping the bushes and the shrubs. You're putting down your logs and you're clearing a hiking trail so that the people who are coming after you can go and enjoy the top of the mountain, the mountaintop experience.
Mm-hmm. It's good.
You're good. You're incredible. Oh, man, I'm so lucky to be married to you.
Oh, whatever.
You are beautiful, brilliant, and you've got a heart of gold. So I'm hearing you say, leaders, if you want to lead, know why you want to lead, and know what you're being called to leading people to. And then I heard a bit of know yourself. What are your tools that you have accessible to you?
Mm-hmm.
And once you figure those things out, go. Mm-hmm. How does that sound?
Yeah, accurate. Yeah, if you're leading just on thought and what you see immediately, you're going to get yourself into some trouble.
How do you deal with that, though? Because I can imagine, I'm thinking in my life, there's been so many things that I've had come up where, okay, hey, Kevin, we want you to lead this. And I'm like, great, that's exciting. 2 weeks in, I'm crushing it, super excited. And then I get that first bit of adversity and I'm a couple months in, so I lose steam. And you're like, wait a minute, is this the right decision? Am I doing the right things? How have you dealt with that? Because I would bet money that you've had some seriously difficult internal conflicts throughout your career.
Yeah, so if I'm feeling something and I feel like something is a good decision, I'm going to write down what it is and what it would look like and all of the things, and I'm going to flesh it all out. And then I'll come back to it in a couple of days after I've sat on all of my thoughts. And, okay, is this the correct decision? Or is this the right move? Or is this the right thing that I need to plan out? And then I'll make edits. But yeah, when you first make decisions on feelings, in a few months, it can be like, oh, snap. I just bit myself in the butt. Because you thought too fast. You thought with emotions instead of big picture and thought process. And yeah, you have to have plans. Every day should have a plan.
That's difficult. That's really cool. So, okay, let's rewind back to 9 years ago.
Okay.
You're coaching. This is your second or third season you're starting. You have some people you like, some people that don't quite get the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Was your goal then the same as it is now? Like the big goal? You said your dream is to build champions on and off the mat. Is that the same goal?
Yeah. It's adjusted and it's changed a little bit. But ultimately, yes.
In what ways has it changed?
I find details and methods and creating formulas and things that make sense to me.
Yo, I am learning so much. This is amazing. The reason I'm so blown away by this is because I this morning I was thinking through, and last night I was thinking through, there is an approach, a framework there I use in my Why Not Me, you use in your Why Not Me, that it is like almost a reverse construction of your dream. So you started off, I want to build champions, but you were nowhere near champions.
No.
No shade. Love y'all.
No, I mean, we didn't compete before. like in my time, we didn't compete.
Yeah, yeah. And so for some context, the App State cheerleading team, in the 80s and 90s, very successful, kind of dropped off. And here we are, resurgent. So I think it's so baffling that you started with this very lofty goal. And I bet at times you felt a bit like an imposter and a bit like that was an impossible goal. And what I'm picking up on is that your formulas, was that like you setting sub goals?
Oh, yeah. You have a big goal, but then you have to have all these tiny little goals to get to the big goal. You can't just say, I want a Ferrari. And then, how are you going to get a Ferrari? You don't have the money.
I mean, I do want a Ferrari, but that's okay. So talk me through, what was that process for you like? Because you start off with okay, you go from I am a first-time coach. I was just cheering here, and you haven't coached before, to I want to build champions. How do you map that?
Well, to dream it, you have to think it. I don't know if that's the correct quote, but
it's your quote, homegirl. You own it. It's you.
To dream it, you have to think it. I don't know which way it goes, but I had it. I wanted to compete, and I wanted to win championships, and I wanted to be a premier D1 program, cheerleading program. So I started there, and it's like, okay, how do you get there? Well, we weren't competing however long ago. So then I was like, okay, well, we have to start somewhere. So we started at a smaller competition to get our toes wet. And yeah, what you were talking about earlier about people agree or disagree, I made the decision to compete 1 year, and it was going to be something that I knew was going to be sustainable as long as I was here. And I had some people come into my office and be like, Coach, we're not competing. And I was like, you are, and I'm sorry, but this is what we're doing. And I had quite a bit of backlash, and I had some people quit. And it ended up being at the end of the season when we did compete and we got third place at our competition. They called themselves a dream team. It was a team of 20, and y'all know who you are. And it was a special moment. And you were there. You remember. I mean, goodness, I'll never forget the moment we looked at each other across the floor and we were like, oh, yeah, this is it. And it was just a special year and a special moment. And I think in that moment, it solidified my dream to go and compete at UCA, which is the biggest cheerleading competition. Do really well there. And so we're still on that journey.
I think you're so brave. And this is how perfect this is that you're sitting here across from me. Because there was this dream that you had never seen it before at the college level. And you're like, well, you know what? I can do it. There goes that determination and that positivity, that leadership. And you're like, I'm going to push people into it. And you started calling the things out of people that they did not see themselves. And you forced them to see it. You basically held the mirror up in front of them and said, you're either quitting or you're going to see you the way I see you. Mm. And once you got that taste of this is what it's going to take, the experience, you can call it a success or failure, whatever you want to call it. I think that was a great success. It all became possible. Oh my goodness. Yeah. This is the person that I would dream to be. They're just a human who have committed to this long term. And I think that's so powerful because so often we sit in our seats and we look at a dream that's out there that seems really far away. And we're like, that could never, ever be me. And you're saying, well, with that mindset, it can never, right? You're basically saying if you want something.
Never could.
can't never
I
could.
have buried the word can't in the second grade and I still hold on to that.
Did you actually bury the word can't?
Yes. Our teacher wrote the word can't on a big piece of paper, and we went out on the playground And we dug a hole, and we all like pitched in our own little shovelful of dirt, and we buried the word can't.
We need to do it with our kids today, first of all. Second of all, I think it's so powerful that you said that, because like people, we have these beautiful dreams, and you know, everyone is made with a unique gifting and a purpose. You are divinely designed to make a difference in this world. And sometimes we as humans can see ourselves as not, or as less than. And someone who's sitting in our seat that we want to be in, there's some extraordinary thing about them that we don't have. And you're saying, no, to hell with that. If you want it, work for it, fail through it, and keep moving forward.
Without failure, you can't succeed.
Y'all heard that? Well, that's really cool. What is one lesson you've learned throughout your life, whether it be coaching, as an athlete, as a kid burying the word can't in your playground? One lesson that you want to pay forward right now and encourage somebody with?
If you have a dream to do something or be something, do it. Why not me? Figure out what your goal is and create a path, small, attainable goals that will get you there eventually. And know that you're on your own timeline. And comparison is a thief. And you dream it, you do it.
I love it. I love it. And I love how you embrace failure as a part of success. You know, I think it's a pretty healthy sign of a leader, and I think that's a pretty healthy culture to have. It's like, I'm expecting you to fail at the right time. The only thing that matters is like that you learn from that failure and you find a way forward. And then when the moment that matters for you, like that's the moment where you have to lean on your practice and not fail. Mm-hmm. That's really beautiful. So something that we started on this podcast last week with my friend Evan, he left you a question that he wants you to answer for the people, and you're going to leave a question for the next guest to answer.
Okay.
So the question for you is, what is an idea, a goal, or a dream that you have kept to yourself that you haven't told anyone? She's thinking.
Well, God gave you 2 feet to move, 2 hands to feel, 2 eyes to see, and a heart and a mind for curiosity. Go explore. I want to explore. I want to travel. And I want to learn as much as I can.
That's a good goal. That's a good dream. Travel, learn, explore. I love it. Well, what is a question you want to leave for the next guest?
I don't know what other questions other people have had. But
This is like, that was the first question, so no one's asked.
Cool. Okay, cool. All right, ready? If you could have coffee or drink or whatever with someone from the past, who would it be? And why?
I'm writing it down. That's a really fun question. And I'm like halfway tempted to answer it, but I'm not. I'm going to let the next guest answer it. So
you can tell me at home.
There you go. I'll call you right after this. Oh, man. Hey, well, listen, thank you so much for your time. I think that you are just such a wise and rich young lady. And praise God that I got to marry you and do life with you. I'm better because of you. And I think we, the Why Not Me Collective, are better because of you. Don't stop sharing your wisdom. Don't stop chasing your dreams. And keep embracing failure. You've got some bright future things to achieve, and I'm so excited to get the front row seat to it. Anything else you want to leave with the people before we take off?
No, thank you. This is definitely out of my comfort zone talking about myself, but I appreciate it. Thank you. I love you.
I love you too. Hey, well, gang, catch you next time. Peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Why Not Me podcast. I hope this episode inspired you and challenged you, and it was something you needed to hear. And if it was, please share it with somebody, a coworker, a friend, a family member, a significant other. You never know. They could be just one conversation away from experiencing real breakthrough. If you don't already follow or subscribe, please do so on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And remember, the growth you want, the life you want, the impact you want, all of that can change by asking one question: why not me? I'll see you next episode.